Welcome to Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. I'm Jonna.
And I'm Kim.
And we're so glad that you're here with us again.
Yes.
Actually, we're just still amazed that you're here with us again.
Exactly.
Unless it's your first time.
I write that in a lot of comments, and when people send us write comments or send us messages via Instagram, I write every once in a while, I can't believe you actually watch us.
I know.
And, oh, I don't want to forget to announce the sock.
Oh, that's right.
The sock giveaway winners, right? I'm sorry, because I know you're...
Good thing we're doing this over.
Yeah, we started
for the second time. And my dog was needy, so we had to...
Yeah, Henry. We'll insert a picture of
86
Henry, so if he does make noise, you can see what he looks like. He's adorable. What kind of dog is he?
He's a long-haired Chihuahua.
Yeah, he's adorable.
He's my buddy.
But we had our sock giveaway. It seems like it was centuries ago at this point. It was in December.
Yes.
And the last day to enter technically was Christmas Eve, but I did extend it to right before I did the drawing, which was New Year's Eve, basically.
And you added a fourth prize.
I did. Yeah, originally it was 3 prizes, 3 winners. And then during that time, because of the sock yarn video, we hit 1,000 subscribers, which now, how many do we have?
I didn't
Almost 3,000.
Did we?
Yes. I mean, it's crazy. So because of that, we added a 4th winner. And then, I don't think we said this at all, but we started a hashtag, right? We started our hashtag, because like if you can see our work, you know, we show pictures and everything, we talk about it, but we can't see your work, and we're so curious. Because in the comments,
it's been great. So we follow the hashtag Show Kim and Jonna.
Yeah. So it's hashtag SHOWKIMANDJONNA. I'll put it.
So now we get to see what you're knitting.
Yes, it's so fun.
Great.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit more like a relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we added a 5th winner, and we had just spoken about it, so I just the person didn't know, but I contacted the first person to use our hashtag, and so she got sock yarn as well. So the winners, okay, the first winner, meaning that she got first choice, was Barbara Andrea.
Do you know what she chose?
Oh no, you're asking me a lot now.
Oh, sorry. I'm just curious.
I don't remember now.
That's okay.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
But I know somebody chose Language of Flowers.
Okay.
Somebody chose
the purple and turquoise that I use for Beth's socks. No.
No, I can't even remember. Oh well, I didn't write that down.
No worries.
And then the second winner was Linda Walton. The third winner was Alyssa Pitts. The 4th winner, because we hit 1,000 subscribers, was Erin Lasher. And the 5th person, because she used our hashtag first, was Tracy Kuzniak. And they all just coincidentally happened to be in the U.S. We said we would ship
worldwide.
The 5th person, Tracy, is from Canada. So we did ship to another country. And I don't know how long that'll take to get there. Oh my goodness.
I did read some of the emails, though, that people had gotten their yarn and they were so pleased and they thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, so that's so fun. So that's the business is done. So that's done. Now we can go on and talk about our favorite sweater.
All right. Our favorite sweater that we're both wearing.
She knitted both of them.
It's called the Ranunculus by, oh my goodness.
Midori
Hirose. Yeah. It's about $6 on Ravelry. Probably the best $6 you'll ever spend, because we make 12 between us. So we have really used that pattern.
Yes.
So I've made one in a small enough to fit a 2-year-old, and
you like created that pattern.
I did, and I put all my notes on Ravelry.
One thing that's strange about the pattern is it says one size fits all, which is a little strange. I find it strange.
Well, I think it's got a lot of ease.
It does.
So it does. You need the plus size pattern, which there is a plus size like add-on.
Yes, and I did make that once. But I just find it. I mean, nothing is. My niece shops at what's that store? That's everything is one size fits all.
I have no idea.
Melville, Brandy Melville, maybe. Everything in the store is one size.
Well, yeah. If you're
that's
a size
what she said.
4.
Yeah, she's like teeny tiny. She can wear it all. I can't wear it. Anyway, off topic again. So I find that odd. But we'll get into it when we talk about our different ranunculi. I don't know what the plural is of that. Did you know it's a flower, ranunculus?
I did.
I didn't know
it's a
that.
beautiful flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can supposedly use any yarn.
The pattern actually calls for fingering, but I've used worsted. I've used lace weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why do we love it so much, this pattern?
It's a quick knit, because you've made one in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I made my black one that I just finished in a week. So it's a quick knit.
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy knit. I think it's pretty intuitive. And the pattern comes with all these videos. So even if you don't buy the pattern, I think on the Ravelry page, there are links to all the videos. So if you have any questions about the technique, the cast on, any of the stitches, the bind off, yeah, it's all there.
That's one thing I want to talk about. When people want to learn to knit, they ask me all the time. They're worried that it's so difficult. And basically what I say, and I'm sure I've heard probably Andrea from Fruity Knitting say it, and Arna and Carlos say it, is there's basically, honestly, there's one stitch in knitting, and it's a knit stitch. And then a purl is just a backwards knit
stitch.
And then anything else is based on some of those things that are included in a knit stitch.
Like a combination of those.
Like a yarn over is just the wrap that you do to grab your yarn for a knit stitch. You just don't
stick your needle
in a stitch. And then these, which I thought were a little confusing at first, but you just, how did you do them? You stuck your needle.
Stick your needle between either the first and second or the second and third stitch and just grab the working yarn and pull it to the front.
So instead of going in and making a knit stitch in the next stitch, you go a few stitches beyond. And so some of them are 3 and some of them are...
Some of them are just 1.
Right. And so you go a few stitches beyond, reach between the stitches, grab the yarn, just like you would do for a knit stitch, pull it through, and because it's further away, it creates a longer strand, and that's like the decoration.
And the cool thing about that is that it's an increase.
And it's an increase, so that's part of the sizing. So if you're worried about starting to knit, I mean, I would assume people who are watching this already know how to knit, but if you're a beginner, don't be intimidated by stitch patterns
maybe it looks complicated.
It does, but it's all literally, if you can do a knit stitch, you can knit anything. A cable is just which knit stitches you knit first.
Right.
I mean, everything is just a variation of the knit stitch. If you can put your needle in the correct place, I mean, in a knit stitch, it's in the stitch. If it's one of these, it's between stitches. If you can follow the instructions and do that and pull the yarn through, and get the old stitch off your needle. I mean, you can do it. You can knit anything.
Yeah, but you mentioned something that I think is important, is that a lot of people are intimidated by knitting instructions, and I was one of them. I thought, I don't want any kind of pattern that has charts or stitch markers or anything I've never heard of. I want it spelled out line by line, and that's why I knit the Andrea Mowry shawl.
Right, and I actually learned to knit 30 years ago in Europe, and back, I mean, they didn't tell you.
Those patterns were sketch, very just a sketch of the garment.
They were all in pieces, first of all.
Assumed you knew.
Yeah, there was no internet and videos to learn how to do things.
Right.
If you did the rib, then it would say increase 3 stitches evenly over the next row. It never told you what increase. I didn't even know there were different increases. It never told you how to do that or where to do it. So there was very, very, very little instruction. And so that's kind of what I'm used to, so that doesn't bother me. But I can understand how that would be intimidating.
Yeah, I needed a lot of hand-holding in the beginning, so.
Yeah, I mean, patterns these days are a lot more user-friendly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that our sweaters look a little bit different. So I guess I'll talk about my sweater first.
Sure.
Because this is the first ranunculus I ever made, and I made it out of this Manos del Uruguay Fino, which is merino and silk blend, single ply. Yeah, it's a gorgeous color. It's like a dusty rose. It's just beautiful. And then I held it double with Sensai, Ito Sensai, silk mohair.
The same color or a different
The same color. It's pretty much the same color. And you'll see that I did not alternate skein, so this is a great example of pooling. And the other thing about this sweater is that I felted it accidentally. But because it was so big, and I think my gauge was off, and back in the day when I was a super loose knitter and didn't tension my yarn, and so it was huge, and I thought I hit the wool cycle, and, I was careful. I was in there with socks, and I took it out, and I was like, whoops.
And you were devastated.
I was pretty bummed.
This is the first time you've worn it since then.
It is. The first time I even put it on, I didn't know if it fit. But it's fine.
It's perfect.
Yeah. And I love it, actually. I actually like it better now.
I do.
Only because it was just, the gauge was so loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank
so that
you.
was the very first ranunculus.
The very first ranunculus.
Now, did you do
So I have to talk about the modifications for sure, though.
Yes. So
Because-
let's start. It's top down.
Yes, top down. It's got a twisted rib, 1x1 twisted rib.
And what about the cast on? You don't like the cast on.
So I don't like the cast on.
The one you did or the one that it asked for?
The one that it asks for. I've watched the tutorial. It just looked fiddly. I just thought, you know what, I'm going to try the German twisted cast on, and I did, and it's worked great for me.
And for me, this is not one that I knitted, but I did use the cast on. I think every time that I've made it, and I find like it is tempting to do a cast on, I know, but I find it inspires me to learn something new. And at least if I've done it once, if I really hate it, then I won't do it again. But I think on all of mine, I did use that cast on, but I did read it's a very unstable cast on. So you have to like barely, when you have it all casted on and you're joining, you can't stretch don't stretch the stitches. You have to barely move your needles, keep them really close to each other the whole way around because it's so unstable. One stitch will stretch really big, so you have to basically the way they are, like barely move them. That was a little intimidating. And I probably had to redo maybe one or two of them a few times, but it's a very delicate cast on because it doesn't really have a backbone. I don't know what you call it. What do you call it? That thicker, like I just, on these, I'm knitting socks 2 at a time. First time ever. I did the German twisted cast on for these, and that, would you call it the spine or the backbone? I don't know. It just feels like that, right? Is much more substantial. There's more yarn in it.
And that's what I used on all of mine.
But it still looks delicate when it's on you, so I guess.
And the interesting thing about the pattern is it comes with a small neckline and a large neckline. And
it does?
Yeah.
I never realized that.
And the large neckline, you cast on only 60 stitches. So it's not big. So I wanted sort of a
ballerina.
Yeah, a ballet neckline. So I actually skipped the first increase and casted on the number of stitches after the first increase and didn't do the first increase. So I basically started after the
And that's when you made your very first one. You're already modifying and you haven't knitted it yet.
And there are short rows. There's short rows in the back, in the front, and in the back, but not over the shoulders, which is interesting. So I've never done that with short rows in the front and in the back. So I was really pleased with this neckline.
It's beautiful.
And actually, it's much better since I felted it because it was a little flash dance. Yeah. I felt a little 80s
flash
in it.
dance.
Yeah, it was very flash dance.
For our 2 viewers who are not old enough to know what flash dance is,
yeah.
it was a movie
in the 80s, right?
It inspired a whole look.
Right.
Yeah, go watch it. It's cute.
Yeah, it is cute. So yeah.
Other than that, you did it as
I did
written.
it pretty much to pattern.
Oh,
That's
but
why
we
it's super
realized,
cropped.
remember what we realized? That we were doing the increases incorrectly.
That's right, because I just saw KFB and thought knit front back.
For both sides of the raglan.
Right, but it's actually KBF,
Right.
KFB.
Right.
So knit back front and knit front back.
Yes, on either side of the...
I didn't do it correctly, I want to say, until maybe my black one.
Yeah.
I don't really think it matters.
But it doesn't matter because it just looks a little bit different, but it's still a raglan.
Oh, and another thing I want to say about it.
Okay.
And it has to do with the raglan and the sleeves.
Mhm.
So if you don't ever knit the sweater, still buy the pattern because there is a genius little trick in there for never having underarm holes. Never having holes at the cast on edge under your arm.
And it's different than what a lot of people recommend, and you can do this, is when
I've
you're...
never seen it in another pattern.
When you're doing your sleeve, when you start doing your sleeve, then pick up an extra stitch on either side and then knit 2 together. It's not that. It's
no,
a different...
it isn't that.
Which
No.
that works.
It's you use it when you're actually putting your sleeve stitches on hold and you're casting on those extra stitches. I mean, most patterns, they have you do the backwards loop cast on. And this is not a backwards loop cast on. So, and there are absolutely no holes in my new black one.
Wow,
So,
love it.
yeah, and I have to just make a mental note to always use that technique because it's definitely transferable to anything you're going to make. So, yeah.
And one more quick thing
Yeah.
before the camera runs out of time and we'll take a little pause, is you'll notice our sleeves are different. We've made... a lot of our sweaters have all different sleeves. Does it give a different option for sleeves, or
They're short sleeves, which are pretty much like a little cap sleeve.
like mine?
Yes.
And then there's a 3/4 sleeve or however with the elbow increases, which is really cool, and the I-cord bind off.
Except on my black sweater, when I blocked it, it grew so much that the elbow actually is not my elbow anymore. But it's fine. It's completely fine. Yeah. I think the increase or the short rows there are actually to make the cuff diagonal rather than make it like room for your elbow.
Big room for
yeah.
And I do have one of those example with me, so I can.
So let me just make sure that I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. So I talked about the pooling, talked about the casting on larger number of stitches, and yeah, I only knit the body 4 inches because I was like really anxious to finish it. So it ended up being really cropped, and it is even more cropped now. That's okay. I just wear like a high-waisted skirt. But this is going to be great. I
think in all of the ranunculi and ranunculuses that I've knitted, I do kind of wish I had made them, maybe not.
Longer.
A little bit, maybe not. My daughter Elena, I made hers long enough. But anyway, so we're going to get into that in just a minute. Okay?
So the next one I made was for my sister-in-law, Beth. And I can't remember. Anyway, it was knit in Malabrigo sock in the color Impressionist Sky. And I'll never forget the name of that color because I had to call all over New York City to find another skein.
Yeah, that's right. She was looking, because she was running out of yarn.
Yeah.
And we were looking in our local yarn shop to see if they had anything similar, or maybe you could do the bottom of the sweater in a different color, or...
Which I just wasn't feeling. Yeah.
No, and so eventually I think I was like, I bet some yarn shop somewhere has a hank of this somewhere. And
I was holding it with Mohair, so even if it was a different dye lot, it was going to be fine.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and it's hand-dyed, and I don't even know if Malabrigo does dye lots.
And you found one.
Yeah, I did.
By the way, I found a picture of your sister-in-law. It's your sister-in-law, right?
Yeah.
Wearing the sweater. So I do have one picture.
Okay.
Because it's been gifted, so we won't have a lot of pictures of it.
Right. And that was the first time I got this brilliant idea. I thought, okay, well, I'll wind the yarn together with the Mohair.
So the main yarn with the Mohair together in one ball.
Yes, in one ball. Never, ever do that.
And I've never done that because she did that and told me never to do it.
Never, ever do that. I took that on a trip to North Carolina, and I couldn't knit on it because it was just a huge tangled mess because the yarn has some give, but the silk Mohair has absolutely no give. So it doesn't wind into the cake, uniformly. So you end up with, I guess, extra yarn, right, hanging off this Mohair, and it was a disaster.
Okay, so
anyway,
remember that.
Yes, don't ever do that.
And because she told me that, I've never done it. I actually asked you recently. I was gonna wind some yarn, and I said, "Was it you that said not to do this? Right? I shouldn't do this." She's like, "No, don't do that. Don't."
What a disaster that was. And then so that sat in my yarn room for a while, and one time you came over and helped me kind of, organized a little bit, and I was gonna frog it. You're like, no, just finish it.
The blue one?
Yeah, and I did. I gave it to her for her birthday.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so she has really pretty blue eyes. So I almost everything I make for her is blue.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful sweater.
And I pretty much I think I made that one to pattern. So the cast on for the large neckline, and I used the German twisted cast on though again, and I made her the sleeves to pattern actually, the long sleeves.
With the I-cord bind off? Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
And I think I might have made the body a little bit longer because I didn't want it to be a belly sweater. So, yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
All right. Well, let me talk about one of mine, I guess.
Yeah.
So I've made 5. The first one I made was for my daughter-in-law, Emilie. And that sweater is now in France with her. Actually, I don't even think they got their belongings yet. They moved to France in August, or maybe late July, early August, from Virginia. And they just packed suitcases just to last them until they got their belongings. And, because it's all being shipped. They didn't bring too much furniture, but it turns out that Emilie's parents also moved to France. Her dad is French, and Emilie was raised in France for up until she was 14. So they decided when they realized that all their grandchildren would be back in France that they were going to move as well. So what they did was the grandparents moved a few weeks later, so they held everything in their garage and then they shipped it all together. But it all left in August, and now it's mid-January and it's not there yet. So they had to go buy winter coats. It's not as cold in Bordeaux, although I think I saw that it's like 20 degrees this week, so it's cold. So they had to go, buy stuff. But yeah, so they're gonna get it this week. So anyway. She was pregnant with, let me see, when did I knit it? I knitted this in December of 2019. And like I said, I casted it on December 11th, and I was knitting the next one on December 15th. So I really think it took me 2 or 3 days to knit it.
Wow.
And
that's crazy. I mean, it's a quick knit, but that's crazy.
It is. And I did do the 3/4 sleeves with the I-cord bind off for hers. I knitted it in Artyarns Merino Cloud. Her favorite color is purple. Oops, I just dropped them in
Now,
here.
was your bind off, the I-cord bind off, a little snug?
It was,
Okay.
yeah. But okay, back when I knitted these, started knitting these, actually, I don't think I've ever made a gauge swatch for any of my ranunculus sweaters because I used to not gauge swatch. But this was another reason I realized that I'm a tight knitter. Luckily, they're created to have so much positive ease. Mine didn't have any. I mean, mine basically
she's
fit.
tiny.
She's tiny. She was pregnant. I'm going to insert a cute picture of her in her sweater. And I don't...
Did you use the recommended needle size too?
I did. I think I did.
It was still no ease. That's amazing.
Not really. But it's gorgeous. I mean, if it fits, it's gorgeous as well. It's a beautiful sweater. So it's with this purple merino cloud. It's 80% extra fine merino, 20% cashmere, and then long yarns Mohair Luxe, which is mohair and silk. And so I knitted that for her. And I think I did it as is. I did the 3/4 sleeves with the I-cord. I did the short rows at the elbow. And yeah, it's just gorgeous. And you know what's funny? When I knitted these for people, I also ordered them each a camisole that matches to go, and I would give it to them with the gift.
Maybe that's where I got the idea.
Yeah. So I ordered her like a purple camisole because it's lovely when your skin, I think it's lovely when your skin shows through. So just having a little camisole. And so I just love it. And so yeah, I made that for her, and it fit, but the I-cord bind off, I think we were talking about it. One reason I love it is because how many stitches is it? 5 stitch I-cord bind off. So it's a beautiful, it's the first time I had ever done I-cord bind off, and I loved it. And this yarn was beautiful to knit with.
So soft.
It's gorgeous.
So did you knit the sleeves on a small circular, or what were you using then?
I have no memory.
Because I found knitting those short rows in the elbow a little fiddly on a small circular.
I never used small circular. So for me, it would have either been double pointed needles or it would have been
by small,
a magic loop.
I mean, maybe I used a 16-inch. So it wasn't small.
I would have done magic loops. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would have.
It probably would have been easier than to do purl stitches on small circumference. It was just a little fiddly.
Yeah.
That was the first time I've done those short rows in the elbow.
Yeah. But I loved knitting it, and it was really fast, as I said. And I had extra yarn left over, so I actually knitted her, since she's French, I knitted her a beret to match. Aww. Not that she would ever wear them together, but maybe I'll insert a picture of the little beret. I only have a picture of me in it, and I think I have like bright pink hair.
That's right, I remember.
Like bright pink hair. And I also have a big head, so it was a little big on me. So, but it was a cute little beret. It had like a little thing on the top.
Aww.
I don't know. It's funny. Someday we'll do a little mini sewed on hats, like our favorite hats we've knitted. That would be fun. Because, like I said, I did knit that little beret. So I think that's it. That was ranunculus number 1 for me.
Cool.
You gonna do yours?
Yeah. So ranunculus 3, 4, and 5.
Oh wow!
I think yes, 3, 4, and 5 were versions of the same sweater. I made them for my daughters, so I made 2 of these, and this one I snatched because my daughter was pregnant and it didn't fit her while she was pregnant. So
are you gonna give it back now?
I don't know. I have yarn to make a third one for myself. So this was knit in Illimani Sabri 2, which is alpaca and cotton.
And this is the worsted. Is this worsted? No.
It is worsted. It's 85% organic cotton and 15%
And the
baby
stitch
alpaca.
definition in here is gorgeous. And this is the one you wore to Woolen Folk.
Oh, it is.
Right, so our opening picture in the first few of our videos before it was winter.
I think it's a little cropped for my girls. They probably prefer it to be a little bit longer. But yeah, I don't mind. I wear it all the time. So yeah, 3, 4, and 5 are made out of this yarn. Beautiful. And I think I just knit a couple rows and then a 1x1 twisted rib to finish off the sleeve.
We didn't really mention twisted rib. We didn't really talk about twisted rib.
And
So all of
the ribbing is twisted.
is twisted rib.
Yeah.
And can I tell you, when I knit twisted rib, it confuses me because I'm not, I have to remind myself.
Oh, really?
Twisted rib, twisted rib. And then if I knit something that isn't twisted rib, I have to remind myself, not twisted rib, not twisted rib. Because you get into this,
you do. For sure.
What is it called? Like this swing of like doing it a certain way. And then,
So then I got the bright idea to make one for my then 2-year-old granddaughter. And it matches.
It is the most
so cute.
Beautiful little sweater. And again, there was no pattern.
It probably doesn't fit her anymore.
You just kind of.
So I did, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was a pretty new knitter back then, and
she asked me, and I'm like, I have no idea.
I went down a needle size, so I
have fun. Good luck.
I know. So all the notes are in my Ravelry, though. I think it's called Mommy and Mini Ranunculus, maybe I named it. And I went down a needle size, a couple needle sizes, went down to 7, and I just kind of winged it. And I cut out rows here and there. I wrote down exactly, so unlike me, I wrote down exactly every modification I made so that I could, repeat it. And
and it's perfect. I did find pictures in your Ravelry, and maybe some you had sent me. So we'll definitely insert pictures. And at that point too, Jonna is so amazing. At that point too, she was sewing all the time. She sews.
Oh, I did make a little capsule wardrobe with some skirts and.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
it's all
dress.
Gorgeous. So I have a picture of the sweater and like one little part of the capsule wardrobe, so I can include that as well. You inspire me to sew, but not enough to actually do it.
I don't know. My sojo is a little on the.
Your sojo.
My sojo is a little. I want to make a quilt though.
You're so funny. So you've made 3 with this yarn, with that, and there's no mohair. It's just this beautiful.
My daughter and granddaughter live in Texas, so I just thought, no
lightweight
mohair.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah. So
nice. So my next one, I actually, after I finished the one for my daughter-in-law, we do back when I worked at the nursery school, the office, there were about 5 women or 6 women who work in the office. So we would do like a Secret Santa. And the last few years that I worked there, I almost always knitted somebody something.
Which
scarf,
is amazing. Like, who does that?
Or a shawl or
who
whatever.
knit something for their Secret Santa?
And so the very last year, it was actually the month that my last month working there, it was the December right before COVID. So glad I didn't work there through COVID. Yeah. Teachers, oh my goodness, working through COVID. I can't even imagine. So I started it December 15th, 2019, and I did finish it before our last day of work must have been the Friday before Christmas that year. So it was done also within a few days. I did, because I noticed how small my daughter-in-law's sweater was, I decided to, but I did like the fabric of it. I liked that. So I decided to, I don't know if I think I had to pay for it, the plus size pattern version. And then I also went up, I think, 2 needle sizes, but I honestly can't remember. And I'm not going to write it in Ravelry. So I'm sorry, I just don't. So if you want to know what I did, if you see it, then you can ask me. But I knitted it with free yarn I got from Jonna. I helped her clean her yarn room one day, and I don't remember if you gave it to me that day or what, but it was this, I don't even know what kind of yarn is it. I don't have a label, and it didn't have a label.
I think it's Wonderland. I think.
But it's beautiful.
I got it at Pick Up Every Stitch.
Yeah.
It's a pretty woolly wool.
It's this peachy, is it coral? Peach. And then I got this, how do you say that? Sandnes Garn Tynn, Tynn silk mohair.
Which I think is thin.
Oh, does it?
I think so.
Oh, interesting.
Don't hold me to that.
So this beautiful pink to knit with it, or coral, or I don't know, whatever. It's beautiful.
It looks like ice cream to me.
Yeah, it turned out beautifully. I made her the sleeves. I did. What did I do?
You must have made the long sleeve.
I have a picture, but I think I did ribbing, because again, for me, the I-cord bind off was snug, and I didn't want it to be snug on her. So I did ribbing, but you'll see the picture. I feel like it might have been a 3/4 sleeve. I don't know. I have no idea, but she loved it, and I kept telling her to send me
down somewhere, I assume.
I guess. Well, actually, I don't know when I was going to talk about this. Someone asked. These are my books that I've written my knitting in.
Oh my goodness.
At first, I used to just use a composition book. And so in here, 2017 Harper's Blanket, 2018 Matthias's Blanket. I didn't knit very often, as you can tell. Not as much as I do now. And 2018 Ruby's Blanket. I was behind on blankets. 3 grandchildren born in 1 calendar year.
Wow.
You know, each of my 3 kids had a child. That was a crazy year. Once I was finished with blankets, Reddington's blanket, another blanket, then, someone asked, maybe we'll do a whole little mini-sode on how you keep track of your stuff and do your Ravelry.
Okay.
And then, or maybe it should be 2 mini-sodes.
Yeah.
Right? And then how I write everything in here. I use tally marks. Yeah, so that's what I do. And somewhere in here is that sweater. And here it is for Allie. But I don't even think... Oh, and you know what I do? This pattern, you can't even see it. This pattern I did so many times. I wrote down the date I started for each person. And then each person, I have one of those old-fashioned, do I have it here? One of those clicky pens, like from my childhood, where red, green, blue, and black. Yeah. Where the pen is half white and half blue. I have one of those. And so here... the original one for Emilie was in black, and then Allie was in blue, and then Elena was in green. So that's how I can tell. I guess I can tell the difference for each person.
And you kind of write down.
I write down everything.
Wow, that's crazy.
I write out the pattern. That helps me to know what I'm doing. I'm a very visual person.
Mm-hmm. And they always say to read your pattern before you start knitting.
So when I rewrite it, it kind of like helps it to make sense for me.
Yeah.
It looks here like Allie. I might have done the longer sleeves. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Doesn't matter. Anyway, you'll see a picture. And then I forgot about this knitter's planner. Actually, I started ordering the knitter's planner. And I started keeping track in here. There's a project page at the back. There's patterns. There's a little pocket. So this is my project page. I don't know how many I did that year. It says yarn, you know, like a little chart, and you can write the date, the name of the project, the recipient, yarn chosen, needle, hook size chosen, tools organized, made a gauge swatch, knitting in progress, ready for finishing, blocked, completed, and gifted. Wow. So that's how it's very easy for me to see how many projects I knitted. And this was last year's. Oops. And this is this year's. Oh my goodness, this year I've started 2 things and I haven't even opened this. I literally haven't written anything down. It's so not like me, but I just want to knit. So I'll write everything down in a bit. So hopefully I won't forget anything. Oh, look at the earrings.
Yeah.
How did she make them?
Oh, Laura bought them for me.
Oh, I thought you said she made them.
No, at a shop in town. So yeah.
They're so wild.
I wanted to wear them because I'm worried that my grandson Max will just yank them out of my ear. So that's the first time I've worn them.
That's so cool. I love them.
They're cool, right?
Okay.
They're a little distracting. Okay. So yeah. So this is my final ranunculus, but I actually made yours next. So we're going chronologically.
Yeah.
So I made that for your birthday. Yeah?
Yes, you did.
Out of yarn that I bought at Vogue Knitting Live. And what year did we decide that was? 2020.
Yes, 2020.
Yeah, early 2020. And I bought this yarn from the Louisa Harding booth. It's her Yarn Tellier cashmere lace. And so I don't know if I ever told you this. So I also bought some yarn from Asylum Fibers. And it's this crazy bright pink. It's my little shorty socks.
You did tell me you were considering making me pink.
A really like crazy bright pink ranunculus. But I don't know, I'm pretty sure I casted it on and everything. I bought the mohair and I casted it on and I just thought, I don't know, just something in the back of my mind was like, And I just knitted myself a crazy pink sweater, so you never know. I just thought, let's just do something neutral. And I had this yarn that I bought. I have a couple balls of it. And I think I had seen a lace version of the ranunculus on Ravelry and I just thought, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. And people have made this out of just mohair, a single strand of mohair, double strand of mohair, lace weight. So I thought, Okay. And I remember the neckline, the cast on was really, really fiddly. I must have done it 10 times just because the yarn was so fine. And I use a size 10 needle for yours.
And it's like wearing
Cloud?
a cloud air. It's so lightweight and gorgeous. And she did buy me, I really don't want to show you. She did buy me a matching camisole to wear under it. And that's what I'm wearing today. Yeah. And I absolutely love it.
And I did no ribbing on your sleeves. I just did a really loose bind off.
Is this the one the pattern suggests when you're making the cap sleeve? Yeah.
Yeah. And I absolutely love it.
It's perfect.
Yeah. And your birthday's in May. So it's a good time of year.
Yes. And I think I have a picture of myself that first day when I put it on.
It's the one I put on my Ravelry page.
I think in that picture I have black hair.
Do you? I think you sent me one without your head in it, so that's the one I put on Ravelry.
Yeah, so you're going to see all my colors. Well, some, not all, some of my colors of hair throughout this video today. But I love it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And so there's no mohair in this. It's just the yarn.
It's just cashmere. 100% cashmere. Oh. It looks beautiful on you.
I love it. Thank you.
So yeah, this one I had every intention of making last year about this time. Bought the yarn, didn't make it. And then this year, we knew we wanted to do an episode on our ranunculuses. So I knew I had this yarn in stash, and I thought, well, it's Christmas, and nothing much was going on. So I cast on. And this is Manos del Uruguay Silk Blend. So it's a DK weight, actually. And I didn't hold any mohair with it. I wanted something a little bit more sweatery. And yeah, I made the long sleeves, but I also added about 6 inches before I did the I-cord bind off. And I did the short rows at the elbow, and those sleeves ended up, I think I meant to measure this before the episode, but I didn't, just to see how much it grew, but it grew substantially. I did add a little bit of length to the body, a little bit of length to the sleeves. Yeah, I love it.
It's beautiful. And you did do the I-cord bind off? I did. It's really beautiful.
And it's cozy. It's warm. I'm a little concerned about the yarn pilling, though, just because it's a single ply. And I didn't hold any mohair with it, so I'm going to be actually really careful with it. So it's the first time I've worn it. Didn't want to wear it around the baby, so.
Yeah, hopefully, unfortunately, I'm sure you know this, when you knit in black, it's really hard to see the details in pictures. Right. I mean, I can see them here. It's gorgeous. So hopefully we can... Did you take pictures? I can't remember.
I don't think I did.
Yeah, so we'll try to take some nice pictures and get some good contrast.
The one thing I did do that I've never done, actually, is I've always thought the transition between stockinette and ribbing can look a little funky sometimes.
Oh, you told me this. What did you do again?
So I Googled it, and I thought, oh, well, this is easy enough. So I slipped the knit stitches, and in hindsight, I shouldn't have slipped them purlwise. Maybe I should have slipped them knitwise because it's twisted rib, but no one will ever notice. But I slipped the knit stitches and purled the purl stitches for just one row, and then I started the ribbing. And I'd have to look and compare, but I think the transition looks.
And I've never noticed. She's the knitting philosopher, and I've never noticed any weird transition between stockinette and rib.
I know. No, I really like it. So.
Yeah, I've never noticed.
Maybe there's no difference, but anyway.
No, but it makes you happy, so that's all that matters.
It was an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, so. No, that's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
So cozy. I love it.
Yay.
Yeah.
And so in our New Year's video, we talked about, our must knits for 2022, and she has one done already because one of hers was a ranunculus. Yay. That's so fun.
I finished it in 2022.
Started in 21, finished in 22.
Yeah.
That's so fun. So I guess I'll do, is that all of your ranunculus then?
That is.
Oh, you did them all. Oh, wow. So I'm behind. Yeah. So the 3 that I have here, I'm going to talk about now, but I don't have to talk about them in too much detail because it's the same sweater. So really the next one, remember I think it was the episode 2 maybe, I asked if anybody else has ever put yarn in a bag and given it to someone as a gift and said, I'm going to knit this for you. This is one that I did that with. I had just knitted Emilie's and my Coworkers that December 2019, and then my niece wanted one because she actually, when I was knitting, Emilie lived in Virginia, so my niece would try it on for me. And then the Coworker, because my niece is tiny. The Coworker, I would try hers on. But so when my niece tried Emilie's on, she said, I want one. So I did. I bought this beautiful yarn. What is it? It's the Uncommon Thread, Uncommon Everyday, 100% superwash merino wool is the main yarn. And then I got this gorgeous I say long, it's German, Mohair Luxe with paillettes, with sequins. They're these little teeny tiny silver sequins, and it's really hard to get them to show up in pictures.
It's I tried really to subtle, which is
like sitting here now, I can't even see a
beautiful.
Sequin. Yeah. But I tried to take pictures this morning, so hopefully you'll see the little tiny sequins. It's just so beautiful. So this is it. I have a picture of Stephanie modeling it for me in our house. So I like outdoor pictures better, but this is it. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
And it just feels so nice. And again, I probably knitted with the needle they suggested. I didn't do a gauge swatch, so it fits her. And she likes to wear her clothes. She's like, 20-year-old, so she likes her clothes to fit. And it looks beautiful on her. And I did do the I-cord bind off, and again, it's a little snug. But one thing I like is because it's a 3/4 sleeve, when she puts a coat on over it, it doesn't slide up her arm. Don't you hate that? Like a long sleeve you can hold on to.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's really pretty. And I probably bought her, or maybe I didn't, because she doesn't mind bearing her belly. Ooh, sorry, Stephanie. I probably didn't buy her a camisole for underneath hers. Because she doesn't need a camisole.
No, and it's not see-through because your gauge is...
Yeah, it's a thicker yarn.
So the gauge for the pattern is 14 stitches over 4 inches. Or 10
I didn't even measure it after.
So it'd be interesting.
I should measure them to see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Sometimes I have a ruler in here.
But yeah, so that was number 3 for me. And I finished it in January. I was wondering after I mentioned that I often put yarn in a bag, and I've done that with my coworkers as well, other Christmases or other birthdays, and you would wonder, does she really knit them? And I do. Every single time I've done that, I've really finished it, within a pretty short period of time.
Wow. So
the next one I'm going to talk about, I think I have plenty of time. Actually, this is interesting. I wanted to knit 2 for my daughters. And this is one yarn I did have in my stash. I told you I don't really have a stash. The only reason I had it is because I intended to knit a cardigan that I just fell in love with the pattern. It's called the Juliet cardigan. I have the pattern there, but you won't be able to see it if I hold it up. It's a very romantic, completely lace, long sleeve, beautiful cardigan. And I did cast it on years ago, and it sat in my knitting closet, and it was frustrating because I didn't knit enough of it to be able to actually see the pattern developing. It's lace weight. I have this Shibui Cima, is that how you say it?
I don't know.
70% super baby alpaca, 30% fine merino wool.
It's beautiful.
I have no idea where I bought it. There's no price. Oh, there is a price tag. I don't know where I got it. I might have gotten it at Flying Fingers in Terrytown.
Oh, yeah?
But I'm not sure.
Not sure about this.
Really? Elise is nice. I loved it when her son worked there. He was so helpful. He doesn't work there anymore, right?
No, but I think he still dyes yarn.
What's his name? Dylan?
Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Flying Fingers is a yarn shop in Terrytown. And it's little, but they have 2, like this balcony, and there's like floor to 2nd story ceiling yarn. If you want the one way up there, who gets it down?
And her son Franklin works at Coffee Labs, the coffee place.
Right up
2 doors down or something.
Up the road.
Great coffee.
But before Pick Up Every Stitch was open, Flying Fingers was, really my only yarn shop I went to. And I still love it there. But anyway, so I bought this there, and it's so soft. Have you touched it?
Oh my
goodness. It's baby alpaca and merino.
Wow.
But it's tiny. It's like tiny lace weight yarn. So I was knitting this cardigan, and it was just frustrating. Like it didn't even inch. I don't even know if I knitted an inch. It was just annoying. So I quickly decided I'm never going to knit that, and just sat in my closet. So one day I unraveled it, and then I had these balls of yarn. And so when I was going to knit the 2 ranunculus for my daughters, I thought of that yarn, and that's what I used. So I did use stash yarn, and then I just purchased mohair to go with it. So the first one I knitted was my daughter Elena, because her birthday was in February that year. And I bought this more Tynn, we said it's called, Silk Mohair Sandnes Garn. And it's kind of a beigey color. I took pictures so you can see. And this is the Ranunculus. And I have beautiful pictures of Elena. At that time, I think I took a picture of myself wearing it as well, and I have black hair in that picture. So this fit me, and it's just fun. I think I did the little sleeves like you did.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I just knitted it as is.
Wow.
It's really beautiful. And she lived in Florida, so I mailed it to her, and she's good at everything she does. I'm a little biased, but she's also a photographer, so she had her husband take pictures of her in the sweater.
Oh, good. I don't know
the pictures are gorgeous, so I'll insert the pictures here.
Cool.
But this was hers. It's so beautiful.
It is.
And then the last one for today. I can't believe we're winding up this
Odyssey of Ranunculus.
I know. So for my daughter Jenny, I used the same Shibui as the base, and then I bought some more Lang Mohair Luxe with Paillettes, and it's kind of a what color, like a purpley taupe, kind of, maybe
dusty purple,
like a dusty purple with little teeny tiny pink sequins or purplish pink sequins, paillettes. And this is for my daughter Jenny. My daughter Jenny loves sparkles. She loves unicorns. She loves sparkles. She won't mind if I say this. Part of it, she never used to be like that. She was the tomboy. She played soccer with the boys. She was a gymnast. When she went away to college, all she ever wore was like crew neck t-shirts and like jeans or soccer shorts. And when she got married, I bought her like a girly, almost like is that called a trousseau? Like a wardrobe for her honeymoon, because she didn't really have many girly clothes. But she still was more like a tomboyish in a way. And then after she had her second baby, she had severe postpartum depression and anxiety. And I mean, severe. And luckily by then, the family, they had moved in with us, her and her husband. And the baby was actually born in our house, right?
In your house.
Was the baby born in our house? Home birth?
A few babies were born in your house.
I think that was Isaiah that was born in our house.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was. Isaiah was born in our house, home birth. That's another story. But she ended up with severe postpartum depression and anxiety. And one thing that just made her happy was sparkle, sequins. Every time she gets her nails done, sparkle bags. So she's become this sparkle queen.
Oh, wow.
So this is hers. I know I'm talking too much.
And one of the things that we actually bonded over was we had both kind of survived a horrific
trauma.
Family trauma.
Health trauma.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
that was ours.
And how your life just changes in an instant.
Yeah.
And you do what you have to do to get through stuff like that. So it was one of the things that we bonded over. Yeah.
And knitting helps.
Say everyone's healthy.
Everyone's healthy now.
Yes.
She ended up having a third baby, and I think having the third baby reset her hormone, whatever her chemicals in her body, and it just she didn't have it at all. So that was great. But so she loves sparkle, so I added that with hers. And those are my 5.
Wow. So 12.
12 altogether, and there will be more in our future, I'm sure.
For sure.
Yes, yes, definitely. I would love to knit myself a long sleeve one,
a wintry one.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited to wear this now that baby Max, my daughter Laura's family, moved out this past weekend. So suddenly my house grew, and it's much cleaner, but it's quiet, and it's definitely been a transition.
That's why we haven't really had any distractions, except for Henry at the very beginning.
Right.
And your husband's working in the city today.
Yeah, but the radiators did go on, so I apologize for that.
I didn't hear it.
Okay.
And even at my house, we have that in common. We have had somebody living with us. I've talked about Elise a lot, and Lisa's been living with us, my friend Elise. And she finally, it's been hard to find apartments around here. And so
we had that terrible flood. And you told me that a lot of the apartments, the ground floor apartments, have been flooded.
A lot of ground floor basement apartments were flooded out.
Yeah.
And also just a lot of people from the city moved up here during COVID just to get out of the city.
Right.
And so she's been looking since June or July.
Oh, wow.
And she finally got an apartment. So this weekend I helped her move into her apartment. So
we've both been moving furniture.
And so little less craziness in the house. Although Elise is far from
Right.
chaos and craziness.
Tiny person.
She's a tiny person, and she's
quiet.
lovely, and she helps so much around the house. I'm actually going to miss her so much. But anyway, so that's it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. As always, we love, the back and forth and the communication that we've been able to establish during, from the comments, from Instagram, from the hashtag Show Kim and Jonna, so we can see what you're working on. And
we have an email now as well.
Oh, we do. It is, well, maybe I'll put it in the show notes. And show notes is something I kind of wanted to talk about, but I'll talk about that in episode 4.
You can mention it really fast.
So if in these little mini-sodes, sometimes we don't go into detail about what we're wearing, but I do include that in the show notes.
And the show notes are right under the video. There's a little
show more.
arrow. It says show more, a little arrow. You click that. It's basically the description area of the video. And we put everything in there.
The sweaters, the yarns.
If we talk about
other podcasts,
it's all in there.
Places we go. Yeah. Everything that you need to know hopefully is in the show notes. And if it isn't, I think one of the past episodes, I forgot to put in a link to something and someone reminded me, so then I'll just add it.
Yeah, we go back and add it. So,
feel free to direct message us on Instagram or, you can check our email. I'll put it in there. Oh, I did add that to the last video, I think.
Okay. But I'll put a caption in with our email.
Feel free to contact us and, ask us anything.
Yeah, but thank you so much again for watching. We're having so much fun doing this, and it is fun to have the excuse that this is my job now.
Right,
so.
I know.
I mean, we're not getting paid, but
no.
But we have to have content for the next video, so we get to knit as much as we want.
That's right. Now I'm not going to be embarrassed to unpack my yarn stash and set it up in my studio. I'll tell my husband it's for my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Welcome to Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. I'm Jonna.
And I'm Kim. I think you're a little monotone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Kind of businesslike.
Okay. Sounds like me. Let's just cut to the chase, okay? All right. So the next one I made...
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just want a sip of coffee.
Okay. I'm like... What's the name of our podcast?
Right, exactly.
Welcome to Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. I'm Jonna.
And I'm Kim.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you mean was that better? What happened?
Bye.
I think my arm was shaking when I waved goodbye.